Hey folks, Jonathan again. I've got our center hole cut out here, and it's the 5865 like it needs to be, and it's ready to go, and it's of course laying on top of the other one. But before we put it up on the machine, I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. This is a Gorton 9J. It's a 1936 model machine, so it's one of the first ones they made. No power feeds at all on it. Really good machine. And luckily we've got the 6-inch riser on it, and it helps us out on the distance here because we've got our indexing head set up and it's pretty tall. But I'm going to show you how we're going to set it up to do the holes. This is actually a cutout of one of the old rims, and this is a 5-lug pattern. It fits the big Eaton axle that we're running for the 4-wheel drive, and the pattern's about the size of the 6-lug pattern of a 1.5 deuce. So I mean, this is not a small 5 pattern, and this is lug locate. Hub locate would be if this center hub located the rim, and then the lug nuts just tighten down around it. Well, this is lug locate. So these are 60-degree angles, and of course your lug nuts are angled, and this is what centers your rim. So of course that's what we're going back with, because the center on the rear axle actually gets smaller as you put it on, so I can't locate it on the back axle. But so what we're going to do here, there's a taper on the inside and outside, because this is made to run as a dual. You can run it on the inside or the outside, or you can run it on the front. So you can put the rim on either way. You flip it over and run it both ways. So just in the center there is a perfect round, and that's where we want to put our wiggler. We want to bring it down until it's right in the center, and look around, and we of course found the best hole, and some of them's got just a little bit of pitting on them, you can feel, but I mean I found the best hole on it, and we will eyeball this in and actually get it where we need it. And I don't have a coaxial indicator to use on here, so this is the best I've got and all I've got to center locate this. And I could do the measurements and stuff and do it, but I still would have to center on the chuck. So, and this is all I've got to center with, so I'm going to be doing the same thing with the chuck. Then I'm going to do the measurement to get it over where I need it. So there's actually more of a chance of failing doing it, from the center of the chuck and then working my way out with the measurements than it is to do it like this. And at least with this, I can check this hole, raise it up, move it, check the next hole, and my indexing head is 40-to-1, so it's pretty simple. You got 5 holes, 5 divided into 40 is 8. It's 8 turns per hole, so we don't have to use the wiper or go part of the way with the indexing plate. We just go back to the same hole every time, and should work out fine. Like I said, the other ones worked out fine, and so we're going to go ahead and get it set up here, and I'll turn it a few times and make sure everything's set good, and then we'll take this out and we'll put our hub in. Okay, we're going to drop it down, put it about as straight as we can get it, and you can see we're over to one edge, so we'll bring the table over and then bend it out, bring it down to where it's right on that center, and then we're going to turn the machine by hand here, and you can see how far off we are. So we're going to set it up here, and we've got about a 3/16 gap here, so we're going to move the table in. Okay, we'll spin it some more here. Just a little too far. Now you can see the gaps easily when you're looking from the top, and that gives you an idea of where you need to move it to, and you just keep pushing out against it and turn it, and if it's off at all, it will show itself. And plus, if you put your finger against it, and you can feel a little bit of a clunk, like when you push it to the wall. When you can feel the gap in it there. And we'll keep adjusting it here until we get it just where we want it. And this is pretty critical because this is where your holes are gonna end up, so you got to take your time on this and make sure it's right. So it takes a little bit of time, but we'll get it in here, and then we'll move to the next hole and I'll show you. Okay, we've got this thing just as perfect around this hole as we can get it here, and as you can see, it's running right around it, and then you know, there's no gaps anywhere. So we're going to raise it back just a little bit here, and then we'll turn to the next hole and go from there. Okay, I've raised it up. We're going to unlock our indexing head. And we're going to make 8 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And when you do your 8th turn, you want to slide into that turn. You don't want to go past it. If you go past it, you need to back it up about a quarter turn or more and then come back to it. And the reason you do that is if there's any play in this indexing head, which there is in this one, and it's an old one, and most of them do have play. We'll lock our table back down, and we'll lower it back down and check it. And we're good to go there. So I'm going to go ahead and go through a couple more holes just to make sure, and then we're going to get the actual adapter up here and get set up to start doing some holes in it. Okay, we got our 5 holes started there with the centering bit, and we'll come back with a bigger bit and go ahead and drill them through. A couple things. If you notice, this hole actually lines with the chuck, so you got to make sure you're not going through and hitting your chuck, and it would if I let it go, but I'll make sure and not go quite all the way through with that one yet. And the other thing is make sure that you lock your tables down. You got to lock them every which way, and that's real important on this. And you know, lock your index and head down every time. All your travel, even your up and down, just you know, go ahead and lock the machine up to where it can't move anywhere. And if you want it to stay consistent and accurate, you're going to have to do that. And I'll go ahead and get a bit and go ahead and get these holes bored through. Okay, of course we're done with these for this size anyway, about a 3/8. Now we'll go on up and keep going until we get it to the size we want, and then I'm going to have to sort of countersink this. I've got a different way I do it, and then and then I will we'll have to bore the holes out big enough for the nuts to, you know, countersink down inside. So we'll keep at it. Okay, we got these 5 drilled, and then now we're going to move up to about 1 inch and go all the way through. Okay folks, we got these 5 holes out to 1 inch, and I'm going to show you what we're dealing with on the lug nuts here. There's one of the lug nuts, and this has got to be countersink down inside, and you can see there's not much room because of how close it is to it. This lug nut here and the other ones for my other adapter, I actually machined these down. It was 1.5 inches, they're 1 3/8 now. And I happened to machine this one, didn't realize it was a bad lug nut. But that's what we're dealing with on that. So we've got to bore these out and count, you know, take them down far enough that there's plenty on the stud, and then, you know, basically hide that nut. And then when I come back and machine this face for the rim, it will be machined, and it actually comes about halfway back this hole. And that's why I didn't face it first, is because I'd be trying to drill holes through a step, and I didn't want to do that. I actually done that on the first one. It was kind of a pain, and I ended up boring the holes with the boring bar instead of or the boring head instead of drilling them because of that. And of course this is the nut that goes on the outer rim, the wheels that we're putting on, and it is 1.5 inches, but you know, there's no clearance issues there. The only thing, our studs will come up through the back and countersink in. But alright, I'm going to end this and go to the third part here shortly. My batteries are getting real low on the camera, so this will be part 2, and we'll start back on part 3, countersinking these nuts down in. Thank you.